right, guys. Thanks for having me. It is so good to be back at TechTO. Last time I was here, it was called TechTO. So I'm going to keep calling it TechTO. And it is such a pleasure because part of how I started this business was coming out to TechTO events. So I'm going to take you back. It was 8 years ago now when I did my pre-seed round, but I started working on DealMaker a long time before that. It was just an idea that I had while I like to say, a recovering lawyer. And I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. I'm a third-generation Ukrainian, so my father, as an entrepreneur, had children to help him in his businesses. So that is what I grew up doing. And I like to say one of the best things you can do to breed you to be a founder is to do cold sales, which of course I had to do for my father's businesses. So ever since I was a kid, I was picking up the phone and making sales calls and hearing the word no. And I think that's great because it really sets you up to be a founder and go out there and sell your products. So I brought that ideology onto Bay Street, where I started building a book of business early. And of course, I followed my passion of helping entrepreneurs. I love the energy at events like this. I love being around other people who are creating amazing things. And I saw some new legislation come out called the Jobs Act. And it became clear to me that the way the legislation was designed, it was intended to help people raise capital for their businesses from their community, from other people. And it became very clear to me that the way the legislation was designed wasn't going to optimize and allow people to raise a lot of capital. And so I spent a number of years thinking about this and ideating on it and building business models and talking to people. And along that journey, I met my co-founder who had moved from New York with his family and was really interested in startups and helping entrepreneurs, and we got to talking about it. And we realized while we were working on our legal practice that sometimes when you find a great co-founder, 1 + 1 = 5. Everything that we were doing together just had more energy and was taking on a life of its own. And so we very quickly built up our legal practice over 6 figures and then realized that we wanted to be building a business. And so we started thinking about how to leverage technology to help people get better access to capital. And we worked on that for a number of years. We used to meet on Wednesday evenings and Saturdays. Those were our DealMaker time slots while we were still working our Bay Street jobs, which is also not a 40-hour week. And we just kept building and we never stopped. And eventually it became time that we felt like we had a good enough MVP that we could go out to market with it. And so some of the first people that I raised capital from were my partners on Bay Street who understood the business that I was working on, who understood the problem that we were trying to solve. And that was our initial community. And then we came out to events like this and we met angel investors who gave us amazing guidance along the way. And so we really built the business from building a community of investors who supported us along the journey and along the way. And that's one thing that I believe about capital is that it always needs to be strategic for you guys, the founder. It has to be doing something to propel the business forward, whether it's institutions that bring you insight and give you board advisors or their network, or whether it's community capital that helps become beta testers or can do something else, create an online movement for your business. So when we originally started, we were really focused on the process of closing capital and making that better and faster. And what we found was people started using our system in new and exciting ways that we couldn't have ever predicted. And so when I initially built the system, it was supposed to be by lawyers for lawyers. And when I was, walking around selling it, and then I would go back and I would code up the system, and then I would pick up the phone when the system broke, and I had to answer questions for it. And it was a really great way to be really close to the users. And one thing that I saw was the lawyers were logging in an average of 6 times per deal, and the founders were logging in 25 times. And so I said, okay, I know who actually really cares about what this system does. It's the founder. And so we pivoted and we actually totally changed our business model because, of course, everybody has a great plan until they get punched in the face. And we had to pivot very quickly. And when we did, that was one of the steps we took in the business where we started really picking up momentum. So I think those staying close to your users and being able to pivot was really great lessons that I learned early on. Another really interesting thing that happened was, as I mentioned, people started to use the system in ways that we hadn't intended. And so they started to raise really big rounds from their communities. And it was one of my customers who actually said to me, you know, what we just did is perfect, and you guys should really just focus on this. And I said, yeah, you know, you're right. And I always intended to go into the US market. It's a great big market. It's pretty intimidating. But I looked at the type of transaction that he did, and I looked at who the partners were, and I hopped on a plane, and I met some of them in San Francisco and some of them in New York, and I built out a partners network of the kinds of deals that those people had. And so there's a lot of different learnings and steps that you take along the way. You know, DealMaker, we just scaled up this year from 130 employees about a year ago to close to 200 now. So the steps that we're taking this year are very different as we have to build systems and processes for scale. And the journey is always amazing. It's always fun. It's always challenging. You're having to pivot who you are as a founder to keep growing it. But I say this community is the best resource that you have, and building a business in Toronto, couldn't have done it anywhere else. Thank you.
Questions?
And if you are lucky enough to be sitting in one of these beautiful counselor chairs, you can actually self-serve your questions tonight. Otherwise, raise your hand and we'll have a microphone brought to you.
I have a question on who did the video. I really liked it. I would hire that person.
That is our internal team. Yeah, we have a big marketing services team, and all our landing page start with a video. So got to do it here.
I'll ask one. What's the biggest challenge basically doubling in a year from like 130 to 200 employees?
There were more than I anticipated. I would say, of course, people tell you that a lot of your systems break, and that happened, where the things that got you here can't get you there. But I would say, you know, I'm a big fan of scaling up. For anybody who hasn't read it, I highly recommend it as an operating system for your business. It really sets a clear vision and direction for the organization. And I think all of the systems have broke at different points in time as we've been growing our scale and size of revenue and customer count. But the break we had between 130 to 200 was real.
Hey, Rebecca. Really inspiring founder as well. So the stuff that you spoke about really hits home. So just really curious because you said, you know, you learned from the bottoms up in terms of building this book of business, and then you went into getting fundraising, right? So really curious, why did you get into fundraising? Was it a scale? Because you went into pre-seed, so starting with angels, so there must have been some reason behind it, or you had some sort of a vision. Just really curious to understand that.
Like why we decided to raise capital?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think we put our own money in for a while, and at a certain point I wanted to go full time, and I needed some form of salary to do that. I wanted to hire a full-time team, and so we calculated how much we thought we needed to run for about a year and a half. That was wrong. People told me to raise enough for 2 years, and I probably should have. But, you know, the flip side is you raise less money early days, you keep more of the business. So we wanted to scale up, and I think part of fundraising, you have to be able to articulate and set that forward vision. And so it really does challenge you to be able to say, hey, where do I want this business to be 2 years from now? And then you light a fire for yourself, and you better go out and achieve it.
Thank you. Can we get a round of applause?